Okay, so what I want to do today is look at training from a slightly different perspective. I want us today to look at the idea of a technique as being a tool. So in the same way that if you were going to take a nut off of a bolt, you'd reach for a spanner or something like that, you wouldn't use a screwdriver. So we're thinking of techniques from the point of view as being something that can solve a problem. So we're going to start off, I'm just going to pick a tool, and then we're going to go through lots of different problems and see how many of those problems we can get a feasible solution using that tool. Let's just pick we'll pick a tool at random. So, lots of people have been using kote-gaeshi, and then the ninjutsu boys, Gyaku-Hanmi. Yeah, so basically this is the shape we all recognise, okay? I have to be careful with that. Yeah. So this is the shape we all recognise, and obviously kote really is the forearm. So the mechanics of what we're doing is rotating the forearm. So just bear that in mind so we understand the basis of our tool. I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to go through. My partner here is going to give me a set of problems to solve, and I'm going to try and do my best that I can to use this tool to solve them. Okay? So here. Nice basic one. I can do this, and I can also use the forearm. I'll come in, I can fold this, and I can use my forearm, and I can collapse straight through the shape. It's nice. Here, I can lead out, I can drive through, I can bring down and take this, thumbs on the back and then pass the hip. That's an option. I can take this and make more of a movement out of the way. Strike down, I can control using my rib cage and inside of my shoulder, my waki. Then I've got my kote-gaeshi version, I'm taking more of the hand there because that's what was there. Blocking, nice traditional version. Drop him into his posture. And again, if they don't do that one, if he doesn't let go, hold on tight. If he doesn't let go, I can strike, and then you see people do this. And then it turns into something of, no, I'm using a different tool. From here. So this is tricky to use this tool to get out of here. If I've got the arm wrench, I can do this version. I tend not to do that, I'm a bit lighter, I've got shorter arms. From here, you come this way. I've got this kind of cover. It's okay, not one of my favourites. As it's coming in, if he's coming in, I can catch him on the move. I've got this. I can go straight down if I wish. Just a straight. Yeah, through and, I can go omote that way. If it's coming in sharp to the face, I can't panic. I'm going for this. The number one technique is always my default because it's the thing I find most reliable. But if I stuff this up and he goes to stand up, I slip back and my hand goes onto here. This comes out to the side. And I'm putting the kote-gaeshi on. A bit like a Ushiro kind of thing. Let's try the Yokemen. So here I've got my traditional version, this kind of thing. If it's more of a roundhouse, something a bit more realistic in here, I might underhook, elbow. I've got this connected up here, I can use this to sink down, then I've got this, whichever version I want. This is a bit, have a play with it. If you've got long arms, you can get a bit of this underneath. It's uncomfortable, right? It's still a kote-gaeshi shape. Still rolling that forearm back, but you see how close it came in. If you do that, and you can drop them straight to the floor, that's fine. The danger with this is that if he gets his balance back, he's going to whack you with that other hand. So be aware of your tool use, as it were. Two hands, Morote-dori. All sorts of ways of getting this, depending on what you're feeling. Got this. There's a shape. If you want to go a bit more traditional. In underneath. Into here. So coming up, cutting down on the forearm again, like we did right at the beginning. Okay, 2 hands. Whoa. There. I'm trying to slow this down, so I know some people are a bit unfamiliar, you get the idea. Same thing from elbows behind, but I've got less things to work with, so I've got to take the slack out. See where I am now? I've got this. I'm just going to here, I'm not going around doing the formal pin. Just for the sake of quick historical thing. Here, have a sword. just cut. Show me. That whole thing where we do, and I'm going this direction for the camera. That whole thing where we go around and we do this pin is because you're stripping a sword out. It's a great pin if you're stripping a sword out. If you're not stripping a sword out and you've got a person pinned to the floor and you're safe and they can't kick, don't bother. Grab in here, kimishiri around the neck. Yeah. So if I let this go on, I'm stuffed. I do not hold with the opinion that great Aikido masters can get out of it. If this starts to go on, you're already in trouble. So as he's reaching round, I've got to find something I can get out. Then I've got this. I can do the version you want. Okay? So we're using effectively the same tool. We're using it in many different ways against different problems, but there's all sorts of different ways of doing this. Okay? Even from here, just to show you what I mean. If you can make the tool work, then you're getting a success. There's 3 or 4 different versions from just this. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're making the tool work, you're going from a position of disadvantage to a position of advantage. I didn't even take the Kotegaeshi. If you're taking the kazushi and you're getting yourself safe, that's fine. This isn't syllabusy stuff. This is you understanding, if you like, the principle of the technique. What is Kotegaeshi as a tool giving us? It's giving us this opening the shoulder up. Technically, you should be past the hip and all this, or past the heel. But if you're moving them, you can take them to the floor as long as their posture's broken. You can go here, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here. There's millions of ways of putting this on. There's even versions I've seen where Yokemen, please, you're going over here, they're taking it this way like Shohanagi, and then it goes on that way. And is it Kotegaeshi? Who cares? But it's having the same effect. You're rolling that forearm out. So just watching people experimenting, they're coming up with all sorts of solutions of ways to use the tool. And the good thing is seeing the newer people doing stuff where you can't use that tool. But that's part of the learning process. That's absolutely brilliant because you're teaching yourself that this is an inside-out rotation. It's taking the shoulder back over the heel and it's breaking the balance that way. If you can only get something and rotate it that way, then this kote-gaeshi shape, shall we call it, isn't the appropriate tool, and that's a good learning thing. So from here, it's a traditional technique. It's not one I'm a great fan of, but you need to see it, I think, for the shape. So from here, he's got the collar. Normally this will be a push or a pull or something, but we're just doing it for neutral. So from here, flinging it around, filling in that space, cutting this out, striking to the head, and then immediately dropping down to take his balance into his feet. I go underneath. He's still got this here. I've got the kote-gaeshi shape on. My chin comes up now. I can feel where his kazushi is. I'm using this like an ikkyo or a nikyo to take him into that front balance point, and then the 2 things go on at once. And I've got whichever version I want. Lots of you have been trying it against a fist. Anyone with a bit of experience will know how difficult it is to get kote-gaeshi on if someone's got a solid fist. And every syllabus has it against a Jodan-tsuki or whatever. In real life, this is very, very difficult because the arm gets stiffer and this locks up all the wrist. It becomes far less pliable and it's far harder to get that rotation on. If he's just punching straight for me, that's an Aikido demonstration punch. I can go and make a sandwich and call my mum. This doesn't happen in real life. In real life, he's either going to come through and knock 7 balls or whatnot out with the other hand, or he's going to pull it back. This becomes a completely different thing. So you have to think about how you're going to use these tools. Don't kid yourself because they're going to fail when you put them under pressure. So we've got this here. Just so I was lucky. Nice solid fist. Very, very hard for me to put much on. I'm not a big, strong guy. And, the shape's there, but it's going to be exponentially harder. Sometimes you can get in on the nails, but it's pain compliance. If I bring him in there and he's drunk and he's going to smack me with that other hand and then I'm into all sorts of stuff. Yes, I know I could get out of the way and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying the tool becomes more difficult to use. So in that situation, if you've got the fist, you might find yourself doing this kind of stuff for the shape. Just because I'm using that kote, I'm using that forearm to rotate him. Is it still kote-gaeshi-ish? Okay? This is something I teach the kids. Someone grabs you like this. I don't even teach the kote-gaeshi as a technique. This is, someone's grabbed you, you don't want them to grab you. That's that same principle, it's that same shape. I do not want to be grabbed, whatever it is. There's the shape. Then I pair them up with someone a bit stronger. Then they've got to use body movement. There's the shape. Then eventually, once they've got the idea of the shape and the tactile nature of this stays in front of the centre, and they fold this on. Now I've already taken that balance, going to the outside of your foot, yeah? Now I can either go through, or I can take him down to the outside of his little toe and just sink through his hip here. And it's a beautiful, simple application. It's like the first level technical thing of using that tool, if that makes sense.